Lithuania, you may ask. Is it a place to vacate at? Well, of course it is. When you would arrive in Lithuania, you might find Lithuanians to greet a bit different than how us Americans do. The most common greeting they show is the handshake, with direct eye contact and a smile. Also, you know when a relationship has been established, because the greetings may become more unreserved and include a hug. You should never be the one to determine what status your relationship is at with a Lithuanian, so make sure you wait until they tell you. One of the main symbols of Lithuania that you will see is the Lithuanian flag. This flag stands tall, consisting of a horizontal tricolor of yellow, green, and red, as you see here. As you may also already know, you may not understand a word anyone is saying. This is because since 1991, the official language of Lithuania is the Baltic language. Here's an example of a document written in the Lithuanian language. So you might hear a little bit of Polish, Russian, Ukrainian, and a few other different minority languages. So make sure you bring your translating booklet. Another symbol, the national symbol, is Vitus, the white knight, sitting astride his horse and brandishing a sword. He symbolizes the nation's struggle to defend itself from intruders. And also the national plant is rue, and the national bird is the stork. Lithuanians have a high respect for family relationships. They are very family-oriented and depend on their families when in times of need. They always seem to be the center of the social structure. The obligation to a family is a person's first priority, and the time together that they spend on religion, they form the basis around which all other parts of life revolve. Your dining experiences may be a little different as well. The typical Lithuanian diet consists of items that are readily available and not expensive. National dishes reflect the economic situation and the fact that the weather is cold for much of the year, creating a shortage of vegetables in the winter and a desire to prepare and eat warm, wholesome food. Pork, smoked meats, cabbage, beets, and potatoes are staples. When dining with Lithuanians or at a Lithuanian restaurant, you can relax just as much as you would while at home. There are only a few things to follow. Wait to be told where to sit. Table manners are continental. Always keep your hands visible when eating. Keep your wrists resting on the edge of the table. Take small amounts of food initially so you may accept second helpings. Try everything. Napkins are kept on the table, not on the lap. To indicate you have not finished eating, cross your knife and fork on your plate. And when you have finished eating, place your knife and fork across your plate with the prongs facing down and the handles facing to the right. Another symbolic item is the Christmas Eve meal kusios, and it is the most symbolic meal of the year. 12 meatless dishes are prepared, including several types of herring, grain porridge, and often pickled mushrooms. Hay sometimes is sprinkled underneath the tablecloth to represent the manger where Jesus was born. You might think the population once you arrive is a little crowding, but it almost feels a bit like home if you ask me. In 2000, the population was 3.8 million, which approximately 80% were ethnic Lithuanians, and the rest were combinations of Russians, Poles, and some other nationalities. Looking around Lithuania, you might find some of the clothing kind of strange but very interesting. The region Lithuania Minor is the only area in Lithuania where the majority of people accepted the Lutheran faith. This circumstance, as well as the political and cultural environment, differed from the rest of Lithuania, and greatly influenced this ethnographic region's folk art as well as village clothing. You'll see some of these odd clothings if you are wanting to visit the area of Klaipėda. Odd clothing in that area was very colorful and decorative. However, few are left. In the second half of the 19th century, village clothing changed dramatically due to the influence of the religious movement. Seeking modesty, people started wearing dark colors and renounced colorful ornamental designs. Men in this area wore dark blue or black kaftans and linen shirts cut in a tunic style. Unlike men in other ethnographic regions in Lithuania, they wore not only long trousers, but also short knee-high pants. These shorter pants were indicative of a stronger Western European influence. Men wore leather or colorfully embroidered belts. They wore high boots with long trousers and short boots and decorated wool socks, with the short pants. Now, in case you happen to plan on getting married on your visit, hopefully we'll be able to see one of these weddings because it seems like we would definitely have a good time. Marriages typically have two components, religious and legal. Couples must register at the municipal wedding hall and often have a religious union in a church, followed by an elaborate party that can last for 3 days. While on the average people marry younger than do their Western counterparts, this has changed with the increasing popularity among women of higher education. There has been a sharp decrease in the number of marriages since the Soviet period. The ending of a woman's surname changes to reflect her marital status, and people may look skeptically upon older women who have never married. When we travel to Lithuania, and I know you're wanting to at this point, you will find many of the traditions that they have. Interesting. Lithuanians are a reserved people with respect for their several traditions. They generally will not go out of their way to greet someone they do not know. People on public conveyances do not look directly at someone else unless they are friends, and generally give up their seats to their elders. People often bring a small gift of candy or flowers when they visit someone, always an odd number of flowers unless someone has passed away. Hosts are generous and do anything they can to make a guest comfortable. Men always shake the hands of male friends when they meet in a cafe or on the street, but never inside a door. This is one of many superstitions they have, which include not whistling indoors for fear of calling little devils and not sitting at the corner of a table if one wishes to marry soon. Lithuanians have several religious beliefs that we will probably come across while you are there. Lithuania is mainly Roman Catholic, with some Lutherans and a few members of other churches. The Jewish population was almost completely erased between 1941 and 1944 from Adolf Hitler's and the Nazi regime. Also, one of the most significant holy places is the Hill of Crosses, which is amazing. The hill has hundreds of thousands of crosses brought by believers from throughout the country and around the world. Although the Soviets bulldozed the hill several times for its open violation of their anti-religious policy, the crosses always reappeared. Just to make clear, it is not a cemetery. Now, when talking about sports, they are just as into basketball as we are. Basketball is one of the most popular sports in their country. For millions of people all over the world, it was precisely basketball that put the name of Lithuania on the map. In a relatively short history of Lithuanian basketball, the first basketball game took place in 1922. The men's national team won 3 Olympic bronze medals, 3 times was the European champion, and once earned European silver. The Lithuanian national women's team also took gold and silver in the European Championships. Youth and junior basketball teams of Lithuania also are recent champions of Europe. While culture and customs are very different from ours, I do not think it is so different that a person would experience culture shock. I personally believe that a person could greatly benefit from experiencing their sophisticated type of lifestyle. It might be difficult at first to get used to, but once comfortable, I'm sure you will have a wonderful time. If you're interested and have any more questions, just give me a call.